My name is HAPruitt, and I want to continue telling you about how God got Anelthalien through the publishing process. So last time I told you about the cover design, and that was exciting and that was good. And so that was one of the last really beginning things of the publishing process. One of the next things that I did was, well, it was a lot of things. The next step was me learning how to market my book. And so the package I bought with Elm Hill set me up to where they had videos and they had a group where I could talk to other authors and ask them questions. And so that all that Elm Hill provided me with everything I needed to know about marketing my book and publicizing my book and just about being an author and a self-published / not kind of traditional author. Just everything I needed to know about all this book stuff. And that was very, very, very overwhelming because, as I've told you before, I'm not an author. Okay, embarrassing. I'm not a really big reader. I don't read many books. I read the Bible and that's about it. I don't read a lot. I'm just not kind of an author-y person. And I didn't even know the extent of which I didn't know about being an author. I knew I didn't know about it. And I knew I didn't know anything about it. But when I started learning everything about it, it was so overwhelming. It was, if you've ever been to a foreign country and not really known any of the language or any of the culture, and you were just plopped on the street, it was kind of like that, just walking up to people and saying, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Da, da, da, da." It was really, I told a couple people it was kind of like being a pebble in the ocean. Like someone just took me from my little place on the dirt where I was used to, sky, air, dirt, things like that, and they just plopped me in the ocean. And I was totally helpless to even know how to move, to propel myself. I was totally helpless because there was this water around me instead of air. I was just floating and completely helpless to do anything because I had no idea what anything was. It was overwhelming because I was totally helpless to do anything. And suddenly I had to navigate this big ocean of being an author that I had no idea how. And I didn't. I just didn't. And I didn't figure it out. I didn't know what to do. All I knew to do was just pray and ask God to help me. Not even help me do anything, because I couldn't do anything. Just help me. Just help me at all. And He did. God did help me. In the midst of all that overwhelming stuff, they said, make a website. That was something you really needed, to make a website for yourself, and that's where you put everything. And so, okay, I'm going to make a website. And just figuring out which website to choose was a big deal. It was so much. But finally, I talked to some people, and I prayed. I mostly prayed and asked God to help me. And He told me to pick a certain web provider, and when I got on the website and I started really doing it, it was fun. And I remember as I was sitting there, over there at my kitchen table, and as I was working on this website, and it just being one of the first fun things, it made me realize that God, He didn't want me to figure it out. He didn't want me to be able to do all this stuff. That He just wanted me to be with Him and to trust Him to do everything. Because in the whole scheme of things, me picking out different styles and putting cute pictures up and picking cute fonts and arranging things, stuff I really like to do, just make things look pretty and graphically, aesthetically pleasing. It didn't matter in the whole scheme of things, but it was something God just kind of gave me to do because that whole ocean I was in, that whole helplessness I was in, God didn't want me to help myself. He wanted me to ask Him for help. And when I asked Him for help, it was like He provided me this little shelf, this little coral shelf that I could rest on for a while and just enjoy the prettiness of the ocean instead of feeling overwhelmed by it. It was still a huge ocean that I couldn't navigate and I was helpless to navigate, but he just put that there where I could rest for a little minute and just realize he was taking care of the whole ocean, and I just needed to rest wherever his tide took me. So that covers a lot of the story of publishing Anelthalien, because a lot of it was overwhelming, and at every moment I just had to keep asking God what to do. Just help me. And remember that he was taking care of most of the ocean, and I just needed to do whatever little tiny thing he said to do at that moment. And that's how we need to do all our lives. Know that we can't handle everything, but we just need to ask him what to do, and he's going to let us do something that's quite enjoyable and helps us remember that we just need to rely on him. So, bye for now.